Without further ado, though, you may have seen him. He was in the ring. He was announcing Jake Paul and Mike Tyson back in November. He's done a litany of bare knuckle events. He's done a litany of boxer events as well. He is a rising star in the world of ring announcing and cage announcing, and he'll be front and center on Friday at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Once again, in that same role for the Netflix card, Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano 3. He is the great Big Mo, a.k.a. Kody Mommaerts, joining us in studio. There he is, the mountain of a man.
Nice. How are you,
my friend? Great to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Please have a seat.
Absolutely.
And I know you're a stickler when it comes to pronouncing names.
Yes, you nailed it.
Did I nail it?
Mommaerts.
There it is.
Very few get it right off the rip like that.
Thank you.
We have worked together.
A little bit of a stickler as well, so I like to make sure, but I know that you are very particular, as you should be.
Yes.
Great to have you in studio.
Absolutely. It's great to be here.
Is this your first time doing an event at MSG?
It is.
Wow.
I finally get to check off.
That's a big freaking deal.
It is. It's really cool.
Man, MSG. And we're not talking theater.
No, MSG.
Kind of annoys me sometimes when people say, yeah, I'm fighting at MSG. I'm like, it's next
Not
door.
It's like when people say like the Indigo at the O2. It's
Yes,
not quite the same.
not quite.
Same building.
So you will be there front and center.
I will be there.
As you were back in November.
Yes.
For Tyson Paul.
Absolutely.
Taylor Serrano too. How much has life changed for you since then? Because there have been some people, most notably the Ring Girls, who I think some of them, their life changed after that event, right? But you were front and center throughout a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
How much has life changed for you since then?
I mean, I don't know, but my whole career has gone pretty quick since I got started in this. I mean, I started doing this when I was 23, 24 out of college and started on the regional scene. And
that's not that long ago, by the way. You're 29?
29.
Yeah, okay, so 6 years ago.
Yeah, so I've just been building this career, and it's all just been progressing. And honestly, Paul Tyson, more than anything else, was self-validating. I mean, don't get me wrong, the show was massive, but after going and starting in my career and cold calling promoters and trying to get on, and I kind of always got the same answer from all of them. Why would we hire this 25-year-old when we have, these other announcers we've been hiring for 20, 30 years, which I totally understand their logic. So really doing that event, only a few announcers have ever announced over 70,000 people, and I don't think any announcer's ever done 100 million people watching. So when I did that, I was like, okay, I do belong in this.
Yes.
I can do the big fights. Absolutely.
Was that your first show with MVP?
That was my first show with MVP, and that was actually my first big show I've ever done in America. All
wow.
the big fights I've been doing for Boxer and Sky Sports.
Okay, so how did the MVP relationship? Because since then, you've done a couple others. I saw you in Anaheim, of course, for Jake and Julio Jr. Mm-hmm. This one, how did this all come about?
Yeah, well, obviously building my name in the UK with Sky and Boxer were great. MVP reached out back early last year when it was initially scheduled for Paul versus Tyson, and they were like, hey, we're doing this on Netflix, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm in. And then it got delayed, a week later, whatever it was, and just kept in touch. And I love the MVP team, and they're really creative disruptors in the industry, and it's fun doing some shows with them here in the States.
So are you their guy now? Are you doing all their events?
As of now, yeah. I mean, okay. I'm enjoying my relationship with Nikisa and Mike, and hopefully that continues. I mean, right now I've only done 2 with them, so hopefully that can continue over time.
This will be 3 now.
This will be the 3rd.
Yes,
absolutely.
And 3 pretty massive ones.
Yeah, I like the big ones, so that helps.
So let us talk about the journey. And I know you've talked about it a little bit here and there, but it is a fascinating one because you are a former football player.
Yep.
You posted a picture recently of how you looked when you were playing for Northern Colorado.
A little bit bigger, Mo.
What was that, 315?
315-ish was my biggest, yeah.
And now you are?
225, 230.
6'7".
6'7".
So you're a football. Do you think you can make it to the NFL? Are you hopeful? You're playing for a D1 school.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was. Football. I was a better student than I was a football player. I loved school. Got my undergrad and my master's while I was there. Loved playing football. But when it was over, it was over. And towards the end of my career, I started hosting like events and doing a lot of public speaking for class and things. And I realized I was a pretty polished public speaker. And I had friends that said, hey, you should try commentary because that's a common transition when you get done in the sport, as we see in combat all the time. Yeah. I was tired of football and basketball, but I joined a local organization called Sparta, and a lot of great fighters have fought for them on the regional side. Justin Gaethje, Sandhagen, Ian Heinisch. Like Denver to MMA is what New York is to boxing, as you know.
Yeah.
And so I started with them as a commentator, saw the ring announcer, and I thought, you know what? That might be more my speed. I think I can do that. Started doing that. Had some coaches and managers that said, hey, you're a little rough around the edges, but you've got something here. So I stuck with it, chose to brand myself. I used to wear sunglasses in the ring just as a visual, grab someone's attention. Went by Big Mo because it was simpler than my name. And then just started marketing myself on social media, People thought I was related to the Buffers. I'm not. I don't know. Maybe we got slick back hair and we're white dudes, so maybe that's why. Got on TikTok, Instagram, all that social media stuff. Obviously, I'm a little bit younger than a lot of the MCs. Then joined BKB Bare Knuckle, who I still work with today. And that was my first time getting to work with like top quality broadcasters, Mike Goldberg, Claudia Trejos, Paulie Malignaggi. I got to be around them. Then I got a call to do the Eddie Hall versus Hafthor Bjornsson fight in Dubai. And that was like the first international show that I did. I remember I called the promoter and I was like, if you're going to have the biggest fighters, might as well have the biggest ring announcer.
So you reach out to them or did they reach out to you?
In the beginning,
Brilliant.
I cold called everybody.
I love this.
Yeah,
I
mean, it's one of those things. I remember, I still got the video on my phone. I went to Vegas for a trip and took a ride to the UFC headquarters. Didn't realize it was a compound. They wouldn't let me in, so I just stood on the sidewalk for like an hour and I met like video editors and I was just trying to
Come on.
have it on my phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
What year is this?
This was 2020, actually it might have been before COVID, 2020, like maybe right before COVID.
So you're just there hoping to beat someone.
Yeah.
No problem. You're hustling. You're standing out there.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've learned through business and I have an entrepreneurial background, how to cold call and sales pitch and market myself. So did that progressively. Then I did the show in Dubai for Eddie and Thor, and that's where Sky Sports found me. And so then Sky Sports and Boxer, Ben Shalom, reached out to me. And they said, all right, we want to do this as a test run. I go, great. Don't pay me. I'll come out. I'll just do it. Let me show you what I can do.
You suggest this?
Yeah, did it. And the rest is history. Then 2 months later, I was doing Shields versus Marshall for the undisputed title at the O2 Sold Out. And that was like the first big like global show that I did, ESPN, Sky Sports, broadcast, etc. And now I'm on Netflix and now I'm in the Ariel Helwani Show.
Yeah. I mean, that's a side note, but it's very inspiring.
Thank you.
And there's a lot of lessons, especially for young people, because obviously I'm a little bit older than you.
Yep.
And I get some people who will reach out to me and they say, how do I get to ESPN? And you just have to be patient, but you have to work your ass off. And when you think that you are working very hard and outworking other people, work even harder. That's what I say.
Yes.
Never stop. And I'm sure there have been times where maybe, and let me know if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You kept hitting some roadblocks.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel bad, maybe feel down, but you don't sit there and lick your wounds for 6 months. You dust yourself off, you get right back to it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that everyone has the opportunity to do whatever they want within reason. I mean, obviously, I'm not sure I could go play in the NBA tomorrow type of thing, but I think you can kind of control your own destiny and your own career. And if I was able to do it, I mean, ring announcing might be the most niche industry in the world. I think if I was able to do that and carve a little niche and space for myself, I think pretty much that shows that anyone can do anything they want within reason.
Did you grow up a fight fan?
I did. So I was a little later. I was actually a UFC fan first. I remember I used to watch UFC with my dad when UFC Unleashed would be like reruns on Fox. I always thought they were live because I was a kid and didn't know any better. And I practiced, my first sport I ever did was Shotokan karate. So I was a huge fan of Lyoto Machida growing up because he was one of the few Shotokan fighters in the UFC. And then my love for boxing grew out of that. And now I'm a fan. I love combat sports in general. That's why I like announcing all combat sports, started in MMA, and still do bare knuckle and boxing. So it's fun. I'm a huge, huge fight fan. It's my favorite sport in the world.
And so in the early days, you're doing play-by-play.
Started off doing commentary for just
and why did you feel like that wasn't quite the right fit?
I don't know. I mean, it was a combination of like, I was used to being just a public speaker presenting to a crowd.
What are you talking about when you're public speaking? Like when you're doing that?
Yeah. So in grad school, when I was getting my master's, I would compete in business competitions all over the world, won a lot of them, won a competition in Boston, went to Lithuania for a competition. So I was always giving presentations. Really, when I got the real love for it, this is kind of a cool story. So our athletics department used to do an ESPY type show.
Okay.
And it was for our own school. And I remember I kept asking the AD, let me host it. Let me host the show. And he's like, I'm not letting a 20, 21-year-old kid host this event. We have boosters that come to this and administrators. And I was like, let me host it. So eventually I helped him move and he wanted to compensate me in some way. And I said, let me host the show. So he let me host the show, full tuxedo, did a monologue, roasted coaches and administrators and things like that. And that's when my friends were like, you have something here. And so I did it, and I don't know. My goal has always been to work in entertainment. I've always been fascinated by it, and I didn't want to go the route of, move to LA and sleeping on couches and things like that. I respect the people that do that, but I wanted to find a different vein for me to get into. So when you combine a love for public speaking, I was raised by a trial attorney that taught me how to public speak and how to dress and how to present to people. You combine all that together and my love for combat sports and entertainment, being a ring announcer actually kind of fit in a weird way.
What's also interesting is when you look at the landscape, you know, a lot of the guys, as you said, are getting a little bit older.
Yeah.
So that one could surmise that like there's a massive lane here for someone who is in his late 20s
Yes.
to be around for a very long time. Did that thought cross your mind?
Absolutely. No, I like research. I like primary research and doing all that. So when I started, there's no textbook how to be a ring announcer. That doesn't exist. So I actually made a whole database from scratch, and I started doing research on every single ring announcer and understanding who they are, what their catchphrases are, who they announce for, what I like about their style, what I think I could do differently. And I just started absorbing as much information as I could to make me as capable as possible to do my job. And when I started, I approached it very intently, dressed the part every single time, kept the same energy the same time. I had promoters early on the smaller scene that used to tell me to tone it down. You know, I don't know where you think you are, blah, blah, blah. But
Really?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
But I believe heavily in visualization, affirmation. And so I wouldn't picture that I was in a bar or wherever we were doing these fights. I was picturing that I was at Madison Square Garden. I was at the O2. I was at Wembley. So I'd already lived those experiences in my head, which helped me throughout my career, because when you do something live, as you know, you got to be perfect. You can't really make mistakes. So that helped me a lot because I'd already lived that experience in my mind.
Did you get nervous?
Not anymore, no.
Did you get nervous?
Yeah, occasionally.
Like when we're talking nerves, like I remember my early days of being on TV, I would feel my heart beating so fast. I would say it feels like it's gonna like come out of my throat. It was going so fast.
Yeah.
What are you feeling when you're getting nervous?
When I would get nervous, one of my legs would shake.
Okay.
Yeah, and which is good because at least, you know, it's not visual for a lot of what I do. Everything's from the chest up. But not anymore. Honestly, after I did Shields Marshall at the O2, sold out, at that point I was able to go, okay, I can do this. There's, you know, now the only thing that would change is maybe the amount of people.
Sure.
And that's what I experienced at Paul Tyson. And after doing Paul Tyson, now
Were you nervous on that night?
No, actually. No, I was actually super, super calm. Yeah, I loved it. I think I've been working to that point for so long that it felt right. And introducing Mike Tyson was a trip. I couldn't believe I did that. But it was an amazing experience. And I've gotten to do some really, really cool stuff. And I love my job. I love building combat sports. I love being I don't know, I think entertainment is really important in society. I feel like everyone is just super tense right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have something to where you can turn it on and you can just disconnect. And so I've met families that bring their kids or people that go out on a night and they say, oh my God, I had a great time. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. You're great, blah, blah. That gives me a sense of euphoria because it's like they just went out and they experienced something fun and I was able to be a conduit or a piece of that. And so that makes me happy.
Who do you think is the greatest of all time?
I've been asked that before. To me, and I've said this before publicly, I think the Buffers in each their own lanes are the best. I think they each have their own dynamic that fits a lot. Historically, I mean, Michael's Michael. Michael is a legend, but I do love Bruce also. I would say Bruce is the person that I was first enamored with doing the job. And I saw a lot of people in the industry try to just replicate what Bruce was doing, and it's hard to do that. And so I never wanted to be, in fact, it was on your show. I remember Bruce came on your show and he said, whoever is next or whoever does this needs to be their own person. So whenever I've gotten compared to Michael or compared to Bruce, it's an amazing honor. They're great. I want to be me. I want to be the first Big Mo. I want to do things my own way. If I can take inspiration from them, great. But I want to do it how I want to do it. So I would say the Buffers in their own respect.
Have you ever met either of them?
No.
Never.
I've had an email exchange with Bruce. He's a very nice guy. But that's kind of one of the downsides of the job is it's a very individualistic job.
Sure.
You know, if I recognize this, if I have the job, that means someone else doesn't. So no, never. I haven't
you
really
probably
interacted
wouldn't
much.
be at the same show because
there's
only one role, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what's interesting is they're completely different in terms of their style. Obviously, Let's Get Ready to Rumble, iconic.
Yeah.
Bruce, though, is moving around. He's spinning. He's in your face. He really changed, in my opinion. He pioneered a whole new way of doing this. Historically, the guy's in the middle. He's standing. He's very proper. tuxedo. It's a similar look.
Correct.
And what he did was revolutionary. And so it's interesting now to see other people put their own spin on it. If someone hasn't seen you before,
Yep.
what is your secret sauce? What is your different?
Yeah, I mean, I think my voice is interesting. I actually went to, it's funny, I've taken the same approach that I took as an athlete to this job. So I went to an ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Okay.
And I basically talked to them about how I can work on my voice and how I can improve it in the same way when I was playing. I would go see a physical therapist or a special coach, strength and conditioning coach for advice. I did the same thing. They actually took a camera and they put it down my throat and to look at my vocal cords. And they actually said that my vocal cords, a lot of them close flush, mine actually overlap. And I don't know if that has led to I can almost kind of growl a little bit when I speak. It's a lot, but it's still clean. It doesn't come out like yelling or screaming. So I think I don't know, my ability to project is a plus of mine. I have increased lung capacity, which is a good thing for the job, et cetera, et cetera. I think from a stylistic point, I was trying to be in the middle of the two buffers. That's what I was going for. I loved Bruce's energy and passion, how much he moved around the ring. But I loved how polished Michael was and how consistent Michael was with how he sounded every time. I liked that a lot. I liked that Michael was a little bit slower at times. I think that helps add to the suspense. All of that, I think, is important when you're trying to convey suspense and excitement to people. What I've said is, really, I'm a glorified public speaker, if you really just narrow it down. So I've watched a ton of different public speakers to understand how they present. So I'm a huge stand-up comedy fan, and I started paying attention to how different comics have different delivery with jokes and how they take people down a certain path or what their tone is. I started watching Southern Baptist preachers, who I think are some of the best speakers in the world because they're so passionate, they're so in your face that you almost become enamored with them. So I started paying attention to other types of speakers to see how I could kind of refine what I'm doing, because in my mind, if I'm going to dedicate all this time, if I'm going to go in front of all these people, if I'm going to be on these broadcasts, I want to be the best at what I do.
The one thing that I'm always drawn to, especially with someone like you, it's like you take your time. The world is watching you. And sometimes, I was even talking to my son about this because he had to give a speech in front of his class. And I'm like, if you think that you are going too slow, you're probably still not even going slow enough. We have a tendency as human beings to go too fast.
Yes.
In the early days, like if you watch some of your stuff from 4 or 5 years ago, is it hard for you to watch? Do you think that you're going way too fast?
I don't even like watching myself now, if I'm being totally honest. Like I put clips out on social media, but I don't even...
It's hard.
It's weird. I don't know. It's like, and then you're also super critical of yourself every time, which is a good thing. I think it keeps you kind of in check. But no, I agree. Look, public speaking is the #1 fear amongst young people by a lot of standards. It actually outranks, drowning and heights and things like that. People are terrified of it. And I think it's because what I've learned, they're afraid of making mistakes. If you're afraid of something that hasn't happened yet, it's going to throw you off of your game of what you're trying to focus on now. And I think a big issue that people try to do is they try to memorize everything. So when they can't memorize, they freeze completely because they're used to a sequence of words and a sequence of phrasing. So what I've told people is you need to almost have like a Batman utility belt of words that you can pull out at any point, to where if you get stuck or if you slow down, you can always pull something out. So in my career, or in my role of being an announcer, I know there's always things I can pull out. Live on Netflix, July 11th, Madison Square Garden, to where instead of saying, you can actually fill it with tangible words that actually add to the presentation, because the only person that knows that you ever make a mistake is yourself. And that's an advice to give to any public speaker. Don't be worried about a mistake that you've made. No one knows you made it.
That's brilliant. Who taught you that?
Me.
You just figured it out?
Yeah.
Over time?
Over time. I mean, I learned how to public speak at a really young age. I was raised by an attorney, a trial attorney, my dad was. And so he taught me all of that stuff at a very young age. He taught me how to present. He taught me how to address a room, taught me how to dress to gain attention from people or to get authority when you're presenting to someone. So I just learned that over time, but I also started watching and, like I said, listening to different types of speakers and how they speak. When you look at people that have the greatest speakers in history, in my opinion, they all had something that was the same, which is they got people to listen to them. They had a way that they spoke, whether good or even sometimes bad, but it got people to pay attention, right? You look at presidents, you look at someone like Barack Obama, or you look at someone like JFK, then you look at someone like Trump, different ways that they speak, but they're so uniquely themselves with how they speak, it forces you to pay attention. So I think that's kind of where I got it from. It's just absorbing a lot of information.
I'm curious about the process. So like on Friday, it's still a little bit funky,
Yeah.
the Friday-Saturday thing, historically Saturday.
Right.
8 fights, 16 fighters.
Yes.
You do have cue cards.
Yes.
But you're not just sitting there or standing there reading all of them. So what's the process? How do you get to the point where you're comfortable in front of the world, in front of 20,000 people to do your thing?
Yeah, well, what I've learned is that of all the words that I say, 60 to 70% of it is going to be the same. So if I'm saying he stands 6 feet 5 inches tall, he weighed in at X weight, the only 2 variables in that is the height and the weight. So if I can get my brain to a point where they almost look at the base words as just, this is what I say, and I can, swap in synonyms and antonyms and things like that as I go. But in general, it's the variables that change. So the purpose of the card is just to track the variables. And I don't like reading off of a card. I like looking at the fighter in the eyes. It's kind of an intimate moment in a way, because it's just us two for all practical purposes, but really there's 20,000 people, but in that moment it's just us. So for me, it's just understanding what has to be said throughout the whole week. I love doing the whole fight week because it gets me more locked into the show itself. I'm sure you can kind of relate. You doing the press conference helps you do the interviews after because you've already talked to them throughout the week. Granted, you're a lot deeper in the industry. You talk to them all the time. But I think as long as I can get comfortable with what I have to say, then I know I'm pretty good.
And so are you writing all this out days in advance, the night before, so it stays fresh?
Yeah.
What's that process like?
Well, it depends on how long the fight week is, but I always like to get them done as early in the fight week as possible, because if there's any, sometimes a fighter says, oh, I'm actually not from London, I'm actually from Manchester or something like that. I can always, make adjustments on the fly, but that's always 1 or 2 things throughout the week. So no, I like to get them done early. I like to handwrite them. I have a template that I kind of fill in the blanks for. I've crafted my kind of cards over time to try to save space, condense space, but it always gets, really when it gets the trickiest is when a sponsor has something specific that they want said, or a fighter needs something specific that they have said, because now I'm speaking on behalf of the promotion who has contractual obligations with these sponsors. So that moment, that's when I'll actually just
you
read
don't
off
wanna mess
the card.
that up.
Right.
Bruce over the years has told me there's certain fighters that he loves to connect with. They, like Michael Chiesa would always come up to him and give him the fist bump. Are there certain guys or gals that you've developed a relationship with where you're like, okay, this is going to be a fun one?
Yeah,
I love the way they react to me and I react to them.
Yeah, I've never. I think maybe with boxing, maybe it just doesn't, because with boxing it's kind of a tighter introduction, because in the octagon they stand on the side and there's more room to move around. In boxing it's kind of in a corner, so it's kind of trickier to move. So I've never had as much fist bumping and things like that. It happens occasionally, but for me I've been able to build relationships with these fighters because I think I can relate to them in a different way. I've never been a fighter, but I've been a high-performing athlete. I understand to some capacity what they've put themselves through, obviously not to the same extent. I'm also closer to them in age, so that allows me to just relate to them on a different level, I think, and that helps too. I think that fighters feel comfortable around me, which is a good thing, and I want that to happen because fighters are always shameful. They don't want to, they're humble, but they don't want to say what they really want said. And I'm like, no, this is your introduction. Tell me, tell me exactly what you want said. So I think if I can build a comfortable relationship with them where they trust me with that information, or they trust that I'm just doing this as my job for them, then that builds just a more natural relationship, because they can come up to me and say, hey, I'd really love for you to say this. Great. Whatever hypes you up, within reason, I will say whatever you want. I
do have a bone to pick with you, though. I have a bone to pick with you because the first 2 things that drew me to you in particular were your height and the stash. I thought the stash was perfect. I loved the stash.
The mustache?
Why'd you get rid of it? I thought it was great. It was unique. It made you stick out. It fit. It fit the look. Why'd we get rid of the stash? I think we have. Look at that. Look at that middle picture right there.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a great looking stash. Not everyone can pull off that kind of stash.
I love it. I've gotten mixed reviews. Look, in America, mustaches can sometimes, depend. It depends on who's wearing the mustache. I'm gonna do it. Don't get me wrong. It's also I also need time to grow it in super fully, because I don't want to come out there looking looking like.
Why'd you get rid of it? Because that was kind of your thing early on.
Actually, not really. I mean, I only did it for a few shows here and there, so maybe it was good timing when you saw me. But no, I've mostly been clean shaven. But yeah, I'm bringing the stash back when I have some time.
Did someone tell you to get rid of it? Was that it?
No one ever told me.
Got tired of it?
I like
nice,
it. I like
healthy
it as
stash.
it's
right
a
there.
novelty.
Okay,
It's a novelty. It helps keep people on their toes.
Okay, so you want to change up the look.
Yeah, I mean, I like being clean shaven. I think, and two, I mean, the other reason why I shaved it last was because the next fight was on Netflix. It was the first big fight I'd done in America on Netflix, and I was like, do I really want
cold feet.
Do I really want this audience's first impression of me to be with a mustache? I don't know. So
I think it's a great look.
I'll bring.
How
it
many
back.
different tuxes do you own?
A lot. I've tons of suits. I'm a huge suit snob. I've gotten to work with a couple different tailors from all over that have made some cool stuff. So
You have to get yours bespoke. I mean, given your size.
Yeah, I can't really fit anything off the rack. So yeah, no, I love wearing suits. I don't know. I think it makes you feel a certain way. Like knowing that you're polished and you're presentable like this and you really look the part, I think helps. A big component of public speaking is commanding authority and getting attention. So that's why wearing the suit, I think, helps. But I mean, I also just own the fact, and I've said this before, but in some capacity, my job is kind of ridiculous. Like, I get into a ring. No, I agree.
Yes.
I get into a ring. I'm wearing a tuxedo. There's a few people wearing suits and tuxedos for sure. It's definitely a nicer event. I'm in there. I'm introducing information that you may or may not already know about these people, but I think it works. And where I really became enamored with it is, I remember early on, my friend group, I was like one of the few people that really was into fights and watching fights. And I remember I would always put like fights on during pre-games and just mute it and things like that. And a lot of my friends, they couldn't tell you what a 10-8 round is. They couldn't tell you, what this choke was or what this type of punch was or anything like that. But what they could relate to, lights go down, the MC introduces the fighter, pyro, flames, music blasting. I mean, when you ask a lot of fans what their favorite moment is of the fight, a lot of them say the ring walk.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them say the presentation of the whole product. So that's where I became enamored with it, is I was like, oh, this is sport, but it's sports entertainment. And the entertainment is a huge piece because they're watching a show more than they're watching a game or a match.
I have to say, again, when I was first introduced to you, it was on one of the Boxer cards. And I really like the way Boxer does the intros with like the ticking time bomb thing.
Yes.
There's like this tension.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I know they're kind of going through this transition period now. They're looking for a new home. They might pop up on Sky here and there. Are you going to continue to work with them?
Yeah, I mean, my plan is to, I like working with everybody.
You're not exclusive to anyone.
I mean, depending on regionality, possibly.
Okay.
But it's more so, look, I want to introduce on the biggest stages. I want to do this in front of the most people that I can. That's my goal. And I like to maintain a good relationship with everybody. I like to maintain a working relationship with people. So Boxer knows that I work with MVP here in the States, and MVP knows that I do stuff with Boxer. And it's just, I like to just work with everybody.
Is there any particular reason why it would be the three major boxing promotions in the UK all have American MCs?
That's a great question.
David Diamante with Matchroom, tremendous. Thomas Schreiber with Queensberry, and you with Boxer.
And then Michael for, if they want
big Riyadh events. Yeah. Why is that? Is that a coincidence?
It's a great question. I asked that same question when Sky and Boxer hired me. I remember I was talking to some of the Sky directors and producers, and I go, I'm just curious. Like, I kind of anticipated that you would want a British MC.
Yeah.
And they said, well, the American accent we look at the American accent as the international accent. We never think that way because we live in America, but it makes sense. So what I've been told, and I've done shows in France, I've done shows in Poland, culturally, just bringing in an American adds a level of presentation. It sounds different. I've talked to a lot of British people. A lot of British people don't even like the British accent. They like the American accent. So I think it's more of just it adds to the global feel of the show, I think.
So this is actually a conscious thing. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah. No, I think it is, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Because I too would think that they would prefer, the broadcasters are British.
Yes.
Like the play-by-play guy is British.
Correct.
The analysts are British. So you would think that the ring announcer would be British as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a very niche industry. I think of announcers that do global stuff and really travel for shows and can make this a career. It might be like less than 50 in the world.
Right.
Even it could be less than 25. And really, when you start getting into like the top fights, it's less than 10 or 5. And so it's a really just finite group of people. And if they like the American accent, then they like it.
I've also seen that you've sometimes doubled up. You're doing the MC work and the post-fight interviews, like with BYB, right?
Yeah.
You're doing the post-fight interviews. There was a guy recently who had a moment where he was telling his wife.
Yeah.
And
Ike
there you are.
Villanueva?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
How do you like doing that? Does that make your life?
I love entertaining people.
Okay.
I can do a lot of different stuff. I've hosted press conferences. I've done interviews. I can announce. I've done play-by-play. Like I feel comfortable in the role of speaking or presenting in front of people. I think the ring announcing stuff was just unique enough to that's kind of where I found my footing the most. But I like doing it all. And the whole goal is to transition into other forms of entertainment. I want to get into acting. I want to get into show hosting. People have said I should host game shows. So maybe, Jeopardy needs a new host. I don't know. Reach out.
I like it. What is the dream? What is the dream gig?
Honestly, like for a long time, my dream was to host the Tonight Show.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like... But at the same time, I want to try acting. I want to try a bunch of different stuff. At this point, like, I think I can do anything. And I don't say that in like a egotistical manner, but like, I announce fights for a living. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, so if I can do that, then in theory, I can do anything.
And do you do anything else outside of this world?
Yeah. Helped start a technology company out of college. My teammate and best friend, his name is Keenan Leary. I remember... He brought me into his dorm room when we were 18. He's like, hey, my brother Sean has an idea for a company. That company is now SportsThread. We have about 750,000 users. We're a ticketing platform. We're a full SaaS platform. I'm the COO of the company.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm entrepreneurial side. I've worked in tech. I've done a whole lot of stuff. And that's why the job in the UK worked, is because when I was working more for the business, I would travel and I was able to do the fight stuff in the morning. And then 4 p.m. was 9 a.m. in Denver. And I was able to work the full workday in my hotel room after doing all the fight stuff. So I was able to do both.
So like even this week, are you doing both?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. It's tougher when I do stuff stateside because the times don't always work out.
Right.
And I've been focusing a little bit more on the announcing recently just because of the amount of shows that I've been doing. But yeah, no, I love business. That's definitely aided me in my career because understanding marketing and social media, like I helped build a social media application. So I have an idea how algorithms work and how posting and things like that. And that's all been advantageous to me. So yeah, I like to stay busy.
In terms of the acting, I know that you were in a Mike Tyson biopic, but you didn't quite make it.
My scene was cut. It's a great story. So I remember I was in Los Angeles and I met a guy named Steven Rogers, who was the screenwriter for I, Tonya. He's Margot Robbie's writing partner. I remember I met him and he had mentioned that he was doing some boxing show, but I didn't think much of it. And then I had an actor that reached out, an actor friend of mine, about 8 months later, and he sent me a posting for a ring announcer. And I was like, oh, I'll do it. Cool. Going to the posting, I go, I know that guy. So I gave him a call, talked to him. I thought I got cast as Michael Buffer. I thought that's what had happened, but I was more cast as like a radio side host type of thing. But yeah, flew down to Alabama for a couple days, shot that. The Director X, was like Drake's main director, and this was like his TV debut, I think. So I got to work with him, which was cool. And I remember I came in, sat down, and they had a whole script. So my first ever casting I ever got, I had a whole monologue where I was introducing Mike Tyson fighting Lennox Lewis. That was like my whole spiel. And I remember I sat down, I did it, and it one take. And I remember Russell Hornsby, who was playing Don King, was there, and Trevante Rhodes, who was playing Mike Tyson. A couple other actors were like, you done this before? And I was like, yeah, actually, occasionally, yeah. So it was funny that I got to do that for Mike, and then I actually got to introduce Mike in real life. It was cool.
What was it like when you found out you didn't make the final cut?
I was bummed. Yeah. I still made it in the credits, though. I still got that IMDb credit, so that's what matters.
So have you been in any type of film or movie?
No,
okay.
No, haven't really tried.
How do you get into that world now? What's the thing? Like, you stood outside the UFC offices, but like, what do you do to get into that world?
Kick down the door until I get someone
agent?
To pay attention.
What do we do here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on it. I'm working on, because the whole thing is like, this is such a unique career that it's difficult to get people to understand it in a certain capacity and understand that I can branch out and do other things and speak in other capacities.
You don't want to be typecast, right?
I don't, no.
You don't want to play the ring announcer. You want to do something completely different.
Absolutely. I also don't want to be typecasted for my size. I don't want to just be cast as a security guard or a cop or things like that. I don't know. I think I can do a lot of different things, and acting being one of them, or hosting a show or hosting a game show. Who knows?
For now, though, you're happy with this.
Yeah,
it's not like
love it.
This is,
no,
I feel like you're just scratching the surface.
I agree. And that's why I'm excited to do this at MSG, because that's been like the bucket list thing for me. Like, I talked to the Daily Mail this morning. I had an article that was written a few years ago where I said, like, I visualized doing this at MSG, and now I'm actually doing it. It's like a pinch me self type of thing. But it's like I said before, it's very self-validating.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see someone just like work their ass off to get these opportunities.
Absolutely.
Like nothing was handed to you. You're not someone's son. You're not, you know, like it was just good old fashioned.
Cold calling, getting opportunities, taking the work, showing the work to certain people, getting them to show their work to certain people, and just making up. The amount of best friends that I've made that are secretaries.
Yeah.
I've made so many secretary friends. Oh, Sarah, I love you. Can you try to get this tape on this person's desk? Can you try it? Like, I remember I cold called Brad Jacobs from Top Rank a lot. And then a couple years later, when Michaela Mayer came over to fight Natasha Jonas, I was like, "What's up, Brad?"
Yeah.
And he was obviously cool. I saw Dimitri Salita the other day, and I remember he called me. He goes, "Man, I should have hired you 3 years ago when you called me," and things like that. And I don't hold any hard feelings because I understand their position. But yeah, it's about putting forth your best work and getting that work seen by someone, whether it's organic or whether you kind of, hold their hand and make them watch it a little bit.
As far as boxing in America, so I know in the UK, a lot of the guys are exclusive, right? They are exclusive to the promoters.
Yes.
But, like Jimmy Lennon jumps around, Buffer jumps around. Do you have to be exclusive with anyone in the US, or can you jump around here?
I mean, I would like to jump around.
You'd like that. You'd prefer that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think, again, I want to be doing big shows. I want to be introducing the best fighters. Fighters move around. They fight on other promotions. There's co-promotions, things like that. So I always want to keep my options open. But at the same time, if I find a home that really fits and they give me a good amount of work throughout the year, then so be it.
How many shows did you do in 24? All told.
I averaged usually 2 shows a month, sometimes 3, depending on the amount of travel between the 2 sports that I did. So I don't know, probably 25 to 30 shows maybe.
What do you think you'll get at the end of this year?
I think 30 plus probably, because BKB is doing a lot more shows on the bare knuckle. I'm doing more boxing, obviously. So I don't know, road warrior. I don't have a body clock anymore.
And are you hopeful to have more? Do you like that number?
Yeah, I mean, the
you don't
thing,
have kids, you don't have...
No, I don't even have pets. I don't even have a goldfish.
Yeah.
I got a suitcase with a tuxedo in it, and that's what happens. But no, I think, yeah, if I can do more, that'd be great. But at the same time, there's only so many weekends in the year. So there's only literally so much I can do. And usually I'm there for multiple days, especially if it's international. So I don't know if I can do much more than 30 or 35. So we'll see how it shakes out.
Are we doing exercises on fight day for the voice? What are we doing in the hotel?
Yeah, I mean, hydration's important. Menthol, tablets is important to kind of cool everything. But the biggest thing is I've worked with a couple singing coaches here and there that taught me how to speak and how to sing from the diaphragm rather than the throat. I haven't lost my voice from announcing in years because I taught myself how to get more from the diaphragm and how to project. What I've said to people is when a lot of people are in arenas or when ring announcers are in bigger venues, they feel the need or the tendency to scream and to shout. And that's what I said earlier with how many people have tried to copy Bruce. He's not screaming and shouting. What he's doing, and this is what I've said to people, is you need to learn how to throw your voice. You want your voice to sound the same to the people that are in the rafters as it's sounding to the people at ringside. It just needs to be louder. And I think that that's difficult for people because they get it all from here. There's only so much range that your throat can give you, but you have a lot more range if you incorporate your entire diaphragm and your abs and your lungs and things like that. I've dug deep into this.
Science.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
It. Bruce has its time. Michael has, let's get ready to rumble. What's yours?
Are you ready to make history?
Are you ready? No matter what.
No matter what. It was Get Wild before. Chose to polish it up a little bit more for boxing. So now I say, are you ready to make history?
And at what point is that? Is that right before you say the main event?
Yeah, so it's my main event introduction. I'm not huge on catchphrases, honestly. Like I'd rather just be known as me, and I'd rather build my own personal brand. I don't want to necessarily lean on a catchphrase, especially because I don't think any catchphrase will be good as "Let's get ready to rumble," truthfully. So I have one, but at the same time, I'm not like
married
glued to it.
Right.
Yeah, I use it.
A fight that could happen down the line, not signed, maybe a sign. What's a dream fight? But I don't mean like, Tyson versus Ali. Something that you want to be in the middle of the ring for. Or cage, by the way. Well,
the biggest fight, in my opinion, in boxing, and the one venue that I haven't done yet, I would love to do Fury Joshua at Wembley.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be incredible.
Even Ben Eubank, the rematch would be cool. On the UFC side, I mean, that's tough. I mean,
there's a whole host.
Yeah, there's a whole host of them, and I never even worked with the UFC. I don't know. If Conor comes back, that'd be cool.
Have you done any MMA show that I know you've done the early days, but like as far as like the more
ex-MMA tried to make a comeback a few years ago, and I did a couple shows with them. I don't know what they're kind of doing now, but no, it's been more boxing recently, and boxing is on fire, which is great.
Yes. Well, it's working out for you, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all your success. Keep it up. Keep freaking, pounding the pavement.
This is surreal to me being here. Like I grew up watching you, and I love what you do. And like I said, I was a UFC fan first, so to be here is like crazy to me. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Great to work with you. Great to call you a teammate, and looking forward to what you do on Friday night.
Friday night live. Madison Square Garden on Netflix. I will see you all inside the ring. Ariel's going to be there too. Make sure you tune in Friday night on Netflix.
This guy hooked me up a couple weeks ago. My mic didn't work.
Hey.
You gave me the nice little assist there.
Yes. Yeah, sneak it underneath.
I appreciated that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ariel.
So much. There he is. Big Mo. There's the poster right there. Friday. And oh, by the way, weigh-ins on Thursday,
Netflix.
live on Netflix.
So I'll see you on Thursday on Netflix.
Yes. 2 for us on Netflix. So this is huge. We're going to take a quick break, say goodbye to Big Mo, and be back with the CEO of Matchroom. Maybe you could talk to him, Mr. Frank Smith. He'll be joining us in studio. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks, Ariel.